Learn a little something. Take a lesson. Learn it all.
Before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed to all the dorky diggity goodness on the channel. And if you want to see more, click on that notification button. Now enjoy the video.
Welcome back, guys, to another ninja video. Today's video is how to defeat Korg like a ninja. And Korg is the subject of many nightmares, especially in war. Now, Korg is a tough one with a very specific way to defeat him if you don't have the built-in counters in your roster. And there aren't really many options in the approach, so pay attention. So first, you have to know what the problem is in the first place. Korg's defense is based on his rock charges and crowd excitement. These are the two triggers. Now, the rock charges return a massive amount of damage back to the attacker if struck with anything but a light attack or an SP3. Now, to be clear, this is only for attacks that make contact. Now, with regards to special attacks, only the melee aspects of the special are regarded as making contact. Projectiles are not reflecting damage back, and that also extends to regular attacks. Now, if your attacks are energy based, then you can bypass the rock charges altogether. Now, if you have an SP3 ready to go on him, you actually get rid of all of the rock charges at once. Now, while the rock shield is active, Korg has a chance to shrug the debuff and gain a rock shield charge. So parrying can possibly get you in trouble if you aren't careful. Now, when crowd excitement reaches 6 or more, Korg becomes unstoppable and unblockable for 2 seconds. Now, while blocking an attack, this raises the count by 1. So block strings really aren't recommended unless you're trying to get him unstoppable and unblockable and then be comboed
into oblivion.
That being said, if you want to get in there and poke a couple times and back out and you're not taking it over 5, you can definitely do that. As you can see, every dex increases crowd excitement by 3, so if you do more than 1, you are definitely in trouble. And if the count is already at 3, that 1 dex is going to put him into the unblockable and unstoppable category. Now, crowd excitement maxes out at 18 total, 6 for block strings and 12 for dexing. If you find yourself cornered, you can dex on the wall to max the charges out and outlive that unblockable and unstoppable. And you can use a bank to turn the fight. Now, this is very risky, but it's a great tool to survive if you're on the ropes and if you could pull it off. Now, a great thing to help you out here is learning strike matching so you know when his last hits are. If you don't know what strike matching is, go ahead and check out the link below here. And if you don't know what banking is, check out the link here. They'll also be in the description below, so if you missed it, don't worry, you can catch it later. So your number 1 priority is getting rid of those rock shield charges, and you do that with your light attacks. Otherwise, he's going to reflect that ridiculous damage. Now, if you have someone who's energy based on their basics, like in this example is Magneto, he can use all of his attacks, and it doesn't affect him at all. Same thing with champions with projectiles in their basics, they're able to skirt around that damage, as you can see here with Domino. So, your number 1 tool in fighting Korg outside of those champions is sidestepping. Even if you are fighting with those champions, sidestepping still works. And if you don't know how to sidestep, well, here is the link right here and also in the description. We talk about this ability much throughout my tutorials, and this one is no different. We want to actively avoid crowd excitement, so we don't want to activate the dex ability, and sidestepping allows you to avoid the attack without activating dexterity, and it puts you in a place where you can return attack. I find this the safer way, as it's one less thing to worry about than relying on parry, and it's a smoother fight. Now, once you've gotten those rock shield charges down, it's open season with all attacks. Now, be careful with this as you have to watch that timer. If you happen to run out the clock and you're still in the middle of a combo or a special attack, you're definitely gonna feel it. Further on the light attacks is the light attack intercept, which removes 2 charges instead of 1. So, action point recognition and intercept, study up, folks. And of course, there's a tutorial for that. Go ahead and click right on that link here. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk SP1. The seemingly inescapable SP1. Once you find out the tell, it becomes a cakewalk. Are you ready? It's his foot. That's right, guys, his foot. Time your first dex with the stomping of his foot, and then follow through with the rest of the projectiles based on the sound, because visually, it doesn't make any sense to try to dex it, it won't work. As you can see here, I've already activated dexterity before the projectile ever gets to me. So if you try to time it on the projectile itself, you're gonna be off rhythm for the other projectiles. So I get the first dex here on the projectile, but look, see how impact happens before the projectile ever gets there? So that's what you have to be cognizant of in doing your dexes. So here's a little bit of practice for you. Just go ahead and follow the sound of the rhythm. Notice that once you get out of that first dex, it's really just a matter of following up with the other dexes. It's kind of like precog dexing, if you will. Now make sure to pay attention to the rock shield charges, because this is how you know whether you can go and counter that SP1 or not. Now SP2 is pretty simple, you just back off, but if you end up in close quarters, you simply have to dex the spin, and I usually end up putting an extra dex in there just in case, and then make sure you dex that final hit. Each of these dexes on specials do not affect crowd excitement to push it into unblockable and unstoppable territory, because that would just be cheap, right? Because he's already not cheap enough. Now the same thing we talked about for the SP1 is the same over here. Make sure you are watching that timer so you're not losing any health on your counters. Sometimes you just gotta leave it alone. So as I mentioned before, champions with base energy attacks do marvelous here. Proxima has ability accuracy reduction on block, so she can parry him without him shrugging debuffs or giving crowd excitement. Quake can just do her thing, as you know. Domino's first medium is projectiles, so she can intercept him with something other than a light attack. Same thing with Iron Man Infinity War. Now, I tried out Black Widow, and it's just too much of a risk with the RNG to trust her against him without some kind of additional ability accuracy through synergy. Now, for the sake of the length of the video, I can't name them all here, but if you have a counter that you use for Korg, place it down in the comments below along with why you use them. What's your favorite strategy? And let this be a tutorial not only in this video, but for community involvement down in the comments. Your comment can literally turn on the light bulb for someone else. Now Quake is my go-to for Korg for most of the fights, but not everybody has Quake, so I did put the full fight between Kamala Khan and Korg at the end of the video, so check it out. So anyway guys, that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you can take out this super cheap menace of the Battle Realm. Definitely the type of fight that you can make zero mistakes, so good luck, and I can't wait to hear how you guys do. So here is that full Kamala Khan fight I spoke about, and check out how I'm using all of my side steps and all of the things that we taught in this tutorial in this fight, and enjoy. So as you can see, I'm going right in for shattering that rock shield armor, so now I am open to use whatever I need. I can use mediums if I want to, I can use heavies, I can use my specials, especially with Kamala Khan since she has a lot of melee. Now since he wasn't baiting his SP1, I just went ahead and pushed him to the SP2 since that is easier to dex, and that may be a strategy you want to use. So I throw out a taunt here, I bait out that SP2, and I took a little bit of damage, but I needed something to record to show you in the video, so I didn't mind taking it. It's all good. And we just finished dexing that SP1 quite perfectly, actually. So let's see, we're gonna go ahead and do that one more time with the SP2. But this one I didn't do on purpose with the counter, but it worked out great because it was right at the end of the timer, so it worked out for the video. But we're still gonna go ahead and rock him out. No pun intended. So I get his crowd excitement up, and of course he goes right in for that SP1, but we are on point because we know exactly when to dex from that foot. Now we're gonna go ahead and launch this SP2, and we're gonna make it right inside of the timer, and we get it, and Korg is almost down. And you can see I learned my lesson. I just stayed back and chilled, and I caught him with a light intercept to bring those charges down. So that's it for this video, and if you did like the video, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, leave a comment, share it with your friends, share it with your mama. All that stuff helps me out, and remember, stay dorky, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Learn a little something, take a lesson, learn it all.